It's Sunday night, and you know what that means. Another piping hot episode of the Slashily Ever After podcast with your host, RunningMan, full-time horror content creator on Twitch, and Giza Britanniza. Say hi, Brittany.
Hi.
You did so good. Good stuff. So, we just came back off of a break last week. We talked about 4 big-time theater releases, 4 of which we enjoyed, 3 of which we loved. And now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. We got to slog through all the on-demand streaming stuff that we've watched over the last few weeks. And I think it's 12 movies we have to talk about today.
Yes.
12 movies. So
we'll go through them quick.
yeah.
Like off camera.
Maybe let's move.
I'll just do this.
I'll do that. Oh, sorry. So before we started recording, had a little mishap with my Coke Zero. It started to fall off my desk, and I clapped it to grab it, and
It went,
the lid was not on it, so we had to do a little cleanup. My shirt's still a little wet.
but we didn't spill like anything on the like we still got a majority of the soda that was survived.
I'm still good. I still got a beverage for the podcast, and I recorded a little bit. Of course, naturally, first thing I did is start recording, so maybe we'll find a way to put that bonus footage in somewhere. I'm covered in soda, but anyways, yeah, never a dull moment in this house, right?
No, not at all.
No, between me and the cats, we got good stuff happening. So we're going to get right into it because we do have 12 movies to talk about. The good news is that a lot of these don't require a lot of talk. It'll just be a quick skip.
Yeah, I went through while we were in our intermission.
Yeah.
I went and rated all these movies real quick on Letterboxd, and most of them are between 1 and 3 stars.
Yeah, there's a couple of decent gems we found in there.
Some that are pretty decent.
We'll get to that, but starting off with Movie Theater Massacre.
Movie theater. So my review for this, I think, literally starts with, you can tell this movie was made by people that work at a movie theater. As someone who worked at a movie theater and people were making movies, this is that same quality. I don't know why. I feel like this is like weird.
I don't know if the word quality is one that I use to describe this film. So
I didn't say if it was good quality.
right. Yeah.
So the villain.
Sheesh.
I feel like we can spoil this one. It's
We're
fine.
gonna
No
spoil
one's gonna
some,
watch
yeah.
this one. So
I'll
Movie
tell you-
Theater Massacre, not rated, an hour and 12 minutes long. Could have been. It felt infinitely longer than that though.
War and Peace felt shorter.
Its original premiere was in March 2023. And they finally, I say premiere, but I think they probably played it at the theater that these people worked at. Is my guess.
Premiere to like their parents who walked out halfway through.
So, but it was released to Prime February 4th for $4.99. So the tagline is, "Will the movie survive?" A group of employees are working their last week at a movie theater that is going out of business when a mysterious figure begins to murder people. Which is the guy on the right there with the knife.
Yeah. I'd love to know his story, but you don't really find anything out.
We won't find anything out. He's gone.
So, yeah, spoiler warning. There'll be timestamps if you don't want to have Movie Theater Massacre spoiled, but this is among the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yes.
It was that bad. And I know that I shared recently on Twitter a meme that was like, bad horror movies are still good movies.
Not this one.
There are exceptions to that rule. It was just from start to finish, there was no redeeming quality. It wasn't so bad it's good. No, it wasn't funny. None of the bits landed. None of the scares landed. None of the kills. It's just a bad movie.
If I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure the like kill was like if this is the knife.
Yeah.
And you were dead.
Yeah, it was so bad.
So
like
bad.
it didn't have anything of value. Like it wasn't like, well, at least there was some cool kills, or at least like, oh, the kills were so bad they were funny. No, it was one of those things where like, if they had pushed it to be ironic, it maybe would have been okay. But you could tell they were like taking it seriously.
Yeah. My favorite part was the ending with the killer. You don't learn anything about him, but somehow he's defeated and is like floating off into space.
Yeah. He flies away.
He's like, into space. And you can clearly tell that he's like sitting on a box and then they just edited everything out around him, so he's just like floating there, but he's literally like sitting with his arms like that.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever like even explain how he got defeated. He just ran away and then flew up into space.
Yeah. I don't even know what happened. The movie theater was saved though. It didn't actually go out of business. I think the employees that were making minimum wage at the movie theater pulled together their funds to buy out the movie theater.
Yeah.
And keep it running. I don't like my hair today.
I think your hair looks great.
Happening.
I think you look fantastic.
But yeah, I would not recommend this movie at
Nope.
all.
Not even worth a watch for. Like, it's one of those things. Like, it's so bad that if you enjoy getting high and watching bad movies, this one will ruin it for you. Like, you shouldn't. Don't waste your money.
Yeah, any substance abuse that you like to do, just don't even worry about it.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it.
We'll ruin it. So, Movie Theater Massacre 0 out of 5. All right, A Night's War. Let's talk about A Night's War.
A Dread original, not Dread XP, but Dread original. No. A Night's War, an hour 43 minutes long, not rated because I think it's just a movie that went straight to the internet. Mm-hmm. They claim, it was a limited release in France on February 7th, and then it came to streaming February 11th. It's $6.99 on Prime. Tagline is "No gods, no mercy." A fearless knight braves a deadly realm to save the chosen one's soul. Facing witches, demons, and brutal foes, he discovers her return could ignite chaos and doom humanity.
I loved it. I love this movie. I am so excited to tell people about it. I got a buddy who's really into horror movies, and I was like, this is a watch, man. You got to check it out. It's so good. I might be biased. I really loved like Game of Thrones, and I'm really big on dark fantasy horror. Like, that's one of my favorite tropes in horror is like dark fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons, the horror side of Dungeons and Dragons, the horror side of Game of Thrones. So this was like right up my alley, but I thought it was great. I thought the characters were really well developed. The story was interesting. The actors pulled things off. It was spooky and dark and fun. And yeah, I loved everything about it. I loved the open. I loved the finish. I loved it. It was great. I would love to hear your thoughts.
It was fine. It was kind of slow at the beginning. I like felt like I was falling asleep with the character development and stuff. I didn't like the girl at all. I thought she was very stupid. She just kept. I don't want to spoil it, but
I can see it. I
something
see your POV.
kept. Oh, you were supposed to tell me about Screamboat when we finished recording.
Oh, I'll try and remember this time.
Do you remember what it was you were going to tell me? Okay, cool. Don't forget.
Cool. I won't.
But it was pretty cool. The lore of it was cool. The villains were cool. I just didn't like the girl.
Fair. Can be distracting.
I like the guy in the middle. He was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was really good.
He was great.
And the knight, he was cool too.
Yeah, I would say if you're a fan of dark fantasy, you'll love it. If you're not a fan of dark fantasy, it probably won't be a hit. Mm-hmm. It's not. I don't think it's really like.
I think they could have trimmed down on it. It was almost 2 hours long.
Yeah,
I think if they trimmed it
and
down,
I didn't feel that way at all. I loved it. And again, I'm a nerd. I love this stuff. I love dark fantasy, and I loved all the world building. I was really invested in the world they were building. I was really invested in the concepts, and I was really invested in the characters.
Well, and like when I think about it now, like I feel like it dragged to build the characters, but I don't feel like the actual world building was done enough. Because it's like you go in, there's that dream sequence in the beginning, and then they go into the water, and then they're there. And I was like, why are they here? How did they get here?
Yeah.
What is like it didn't seem very clear to me, and I just had to like, okay, well they're here now. I had to ignore it.
I would say uncommon Slashily Ever After disagreement. So I would love to hear what people think. If you've seen it in the comments or if you watch it, I'd love to hear in the comments because I would be curious to see if I'm the only one that liked it.
I liked it fine.
I recommended it to some friends. I don't think anybody's watched it yet. So, and you know how everybody's got a list a mile wide.
Again, I liked that guy. I liked the dudes in this. Excuse me, in this one, the guys were cool.
Yeah. See, I didn't think that the main chick was egregious at all. I thought she was great. I thought she played her part perfectly, and I thought that anyways, that's again, we'll get into spoilers if we go too deep. So maybe someday, when the podcast is the #1 horror podcast in the world, we'll have the resources to do bonus Patreon episodes where we do spoilers. We've thought about that. So if we do that, we'll talk about this one more. But overall, this one was a W for me. This one was
it's a lowercase W.
Lowercase W for her. watch it and tell me what you think. Are you there? I think this is another one that we were kind of divided on.
Yeah,
so be
this
interesting to talk
movie
about.
poster is awful.
Yeah.
My mom has been asking when we were gonna do more episodes because she loves watching it, and I sent her a couple of screenshots. I'm like, well, we haven't been recording because Doug's been really busy with this subathon that lasted forever. But I'm like, these are the movies we saw, and she's like, this one looks like a porn.
Yeah, I'll tell you this too. When we were setting the episode up, we set up all these graphics beforehand, and I was going through, and this was the only one I was like, "What movie is this?" I had to ask her. I was like, "Which one is that?" And she gave me a little break. Oh yeah, yeah. But I feel like the poster betrays the film.
Yeah, it's
in a lot of ways
unnecessary.
Yeah, because it's not like this. That's not that you won't. If you watch the film, you'll be like, "What was this poster thing? What were they doing with this poster?" But anyways, go ahead and break it down.
An hour 28 minutes. It was in its first and only film festival in November 2024, and then it was released to streaming February 7th, $6.99 on Prime. The tagline is only on the poster; it's not on the Letterboxd thing. It says, "Some questions are best left unanswered."
Yeah.
So when paranormal psychology student Rosa Gonzalez lights a summoning ritual candle, it ignites a life and death game of 20 questions. As the candle melts down, so does her chance of survival. She discovers some questions are best left unanswered. It's kind of like a Ouija board, but different. So her grandmother dies and leaves her this candlestick that has sí and no, because she's Spanish. And you light the candle, and you're like, "Grandma, are you there?" The flame will bend to sí if she's there and no if she's not, or whatever. And so you can only ask yes or no questions. And so
Don't
that's
stop
the
her
premise.
from asking no and yes or no questions over and over again. Yeah, I don't know, man. This one, I hated it. I was ready for it to be over. It basically is to me, my breakdown would be this concept has been done a million times better. A lot of stuff didn't make sense. And then yet it was like very predictable, I thought. I guess I typically intentionally try not to guess the ending because I want to be surprised. So I just watch movies very like unfocused on anything but what I'm seeing. I'm like letting the director and the actors show me the movie. And so, but this one I kind of saw the ending coming from a mile away. Like I couldn't help but just know, oh, this is what's happening. And so I don't know, man. I didn't think there was any individual performances that were a standout. I didn't think that there was anything interesting that they did. I didn't think that the ending was a surprise. I didn't think the ending was generally very good. It kind of left me feeling like, yeah, I could have gone without seeing this one. And I don't feel that way very often. I'm even kind of glad that I watched Movie Theater Massacre. But this one, I was just like, this felt like this felt like an AI movie. Like this is just a general, is like, let's make a movie and we'll call it Are You There? And it'll be a ghost movie. And that's what it was. It's just, to me, it was like it felt very paint by numbers. I've already seen this movie before, done better. That's my short take.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I thought it was kind of long, and it's only an hour and a half.
Yeah, it dragged, man.
It did kind of drag.
Yeah.
I liked the twist at the end, but again, like 2 or 3 out of 5. Like it's not phenomenal.
Yeah. And I would.
But I didn't think it was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I would not recommend it. I mean, maybe I guess she didn't hate it, so maybe you, dear listener, wouldn't hate it either. But I guess I didn't hate it. That would make me feel too much. It was just like, oh, it's over. Okay, cool. We can go do something else now. That was my take. Just wasn't a great movie to me. It still wasn't offensive like some of the ones on the list. All right, Emily Hampshire stars in Mom.
Mother's love never dies.
True.
The baby arm.
Oh yeah.
An hour and 35 minutes. It was at Fright Fest March 9th, 2024, and then released to streaming services February 7th, 2025. It's $4.99 on Prime. So this was like one that we watched like toward the end of your subathon.
Yeah.
Was it after?
It was after, and one of my.
As it ended, like, was it?
Well, I don't remember if it was over or not, but I know I had been awake for like 2 days when we watched this. Like
Yeah.
I had not. I was resetting my sleep schedule, so I was still up
It was
after
the
not
weekend.
sleeping. And yeah, but I mean, I liked it. I actually liked it a lot.
So struggling. It says postnatal. I don't like that. Postpartum.
Okay.
Struggling with postnatal depression and feeling misunderstood by her husband, Meredith begins to experience terrifying visions foreshadowing an ultimate tragedy.
Yeah. I really liked it. It was a very, very dark movie. And again, Brittany mentioned on the last episode, triggers, like this could be a triggering movie for some. So definitely look up the trigger warnings if you're somebody who needs to avoid that sort of thing, because it's very heavy emotionally. And again, for me, not sleeping for days and then being a parent and being someone who gets very affected by emotional things in movies, like this was a hard watch, but I really liked it. And I think that, yeah, so I could see, I know that you weren't a huge fan, and I remember you talking about some of your complaints, which I do think are valid complaints, but overall, I thought this was a pretty good movie. I liked it a lot.
I think it was fine. I think I did 2 or 3 stars.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the husband.
Yeah, he sucked.
He was awful.
He was the worst character, and I think that, without saying any spoilers, I do think that was intended. I hope that the intention in this film was to kind of showcase how epically hard he failed his wife, and how epically hard he failed his child, and how epically hard he failed himself. And that was and maybe that's why I liked it so much, because that was my takeaway. It was like, oh, this is a narrative about, how to properly support someone, and how sometimes people who need to be a support person turn themselves into a victim of circumstances that they created. That would be my wrap up of the film without spoiling anything. So I thought it was great. I loved it.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It was just so long. I
was
had to
long.
wake you up.
Yeah, well, that wasn't because of the movie. That was because I had been awake for 2 days, and it was worth staying awake for. Like, I was upset that I was falling asleep. Normally,
it was pretty decent. I think it's worth $5.
Yeah, absolutely worth $5. I thought it was great. I recommend it.
Get hype, babe.
I am hyped.
Okay. Because it's Bloody Axe
this
Spoon
was
time.
okay. Now this was fun. Yeah, so break it down.
Yeah, so Bloody Axe Spoon, hour 23. It was released limited theaters December 27th, 2024. So very close to the new year. So this is technically not a 2025 movie, but we watched it anyways. It was released to streaming March 21st, 2025. It's on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, it's $4.99 on Prime.
Yeah.
So
You should have Shudder, though. If you're hearing this and you don't have Shudder, you should have Shudder. So many bangers, and Shudder is still, I think it's only like $6 a month, $7 a month. It's very, considering we pay like $100 a month for Netflix now, I think a little bit of money at Shudder is a good wrap. And again, that's why I figured it out. That's why we decided to watch it. Is I was on Twitter, and I follow Shudder. Hopefully they follow me back someday. But I follow Shudder, and they tweeted about it and said like, "Ooh, just streaming now on Shudder." And I read the synopsis, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch this. This is great." So
yeah, high school can be killer. Abby Bladecut is a teenager torn between the macabre traditions of her family's bloody trade and the tender stirrings of her first crush. In the small town of Clover Falls, Abby's father, Roger, has built an infamous legacy by capturing real-life killings on tape and selling them to eager customers. But as Abby delves deeper into the grisly family business, she begins to wonder if it's time to take the family tradition in a new direction.
yeah, so
This movie starts off so strong.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in it.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
Negan from The Walking Dead.
yeah, he has kind of a cameo piece in the beginning of the film, and so basically
Out of nowhere.
the universe they create for you is a universe where people basically film snuff films, like they do summer camp murders and high school murders, like the classic slasher tropes, and they record themselves doing it and then sell the movies. And it's like
As if it's like a horror movie.
and it's like a legit trade. Like this is what people do. And so there's like it's a weird universe where there's kind of like an unwritten agreement that this sort of stuff happens. And
like in this town, there's like a wall in a diner of like all the kids that have been brutally murdered
yeah,
in this high school, and it's like 20 or 30 kids. Like it's
like a
insane.
normal-
And they're
it's like
like,
a normal
yeah,
thing, yeah.
you know. Bella's dad from Twilight is in here, Billy Burke. He's
Yep.
the dad. He's the original Blade Cut, dad Blade Cut.
and then Spawn of Blade cut his daughter, which again, there's a lot of good social narratives. He talks about basically narrative about like misogyny, and, like the idea that he like, if I had a son, I could turn over the family business, but now I have a daughter, so I can't do it to my daughter. I have to bring in some other dude who sucks so bad.
So funny. I would compare this movie to Lisa Frankenstein in that it is high school, but it is not geared towards high schoolers. So Lisa Frankenstein was a movie set in high school, and it's PG-13, so geared towards high schoolers. This movie, I think, I guess it wasn't actually rated, but it's
But it would
definitely
be
not.
R.
It would not be a PG-13
Yeah, it would be
movie.
R-rated if it was rated because it was very, very violent. And
But
very
there were
brutal.
like adult themes discussed with the teenagers. But again, it's not a teenager movie.
Yeah.
So it made me feel a little less icky.
Yeah.
But it was so good.
So fun. So
Very
fun.
fun.
So funny. It's a great period for horror comedy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're getting a lot of good horror comedy.
Yeah, we
This
had
was
Getaway.
This was a good one. Yeah.
Bloody Axe Wound. Hell of a Summer we talked about last week.
Yeah. So this is a heavy recommend. And again, if you don't already have Shudder, get Shudder. Just get it.
And it's $5 on Prime if you like just want to defy Doug.
True. If you want to push back against the man, you can also just rent it on Prime. But for the cost of that Prime rental, you can pay for a month of Shudder, and then you get all kinds of great
anything
stuff.
you want.
Anything. You can watch more movies than just that one. But this one's really good. W movie. Please go watch it.
Very
Talk
good.
about it in the comments. All right. Oh. Can we skip it?
It'll be quick.
Can we
It'll be
skip it?
so
Yeah.
quick. This is a Tubi movie, so it's free.
Yeah. Free is too much.
The Baby in the Basket. It's TVMA, so I guess it was a TV movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was released to Tubi February 17th. Evil isn't raised; it's born.
Yeah.
In 1940s, the nuns of a remote Scottish island convent ready for an impending storm. But when a baby is left on their doorstep, Sister Agnes becomes convinced he is the devil and wants to kill the child. After Agnes is locked away, a grim series of events ensue as the storm rages, and as her sisters begin to question faith and reality, Sister Eleanor must try to repent and survive the dark events at St. Augustine's, or Augustine's, depending on which actor is talking.
Because different actors pronounced it differently in the film. This movie stinks.
This movie was
people.
so bad.
It stinks.
I think it was better than Movie Theater Massacre, but that's not saying very much.
I honestly don't. I think that maybe at least Movie Theater Massacre had like a laugh out loud bad moment. You know, the killer flying away was like, what the fuck did we just watch?
Yeah.
This movie was like, what did we just watch? Oh, it was so right. That's the movie. That's it. It's seeping back into your bloodstream.
Another one that we're gonna straight up spoil because it's not worth watching. It's free on Tubi. You don't even need an account to watch Tubi. Don't waste your time.
No.
It is so bad. They show the demon baby, and it's like shadowy black brown with like orange eyes and like horns. Like it straight up is a devil. And then like some of the nuns are like, no, it's just a baby. And then the other one's like, it's a demon. Like look at it. And it's so bad.
It just stinks. Stinks to high heaven.
I was super excited about this because like it has the baby in the basket. So I was thinking like Moses and the Reeds kind of thing. And I was like, ooh, Moses and the Reeds horror Egyptian movie. Cool. No, it wasn't cool. Well, and it was nothing like that.
And then
at
coming
all.
off of last year's sleeper hit Immaculate, I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah.
I fuck with religious horror and like nuns and demons and stuff. And no, it just stinks. I can't. I don't. That's all. It stinks.
Don't watch
it. Free is too much. Your time is worth more than that. Thank you for fixing my nose. But then, just when I started to give up on streaming horror, they pull me back in. Tell them about Popeye the Slayer Man.
Popeye the Slayer Man. He is what he is.
I am what I am.
So an hour 28 minutes. It was released. It claims to be a limited release. I don't think it is. Limited release and on Prime March 21st. It's $5.99 on Prime. Tagline: He is what he is. A curious group of friends sneak into an abandoned spinach canning factory to film a documentary on the legend of the Sailor Man, who is said to haunt the factory and local docks.
Movie's great. It's great. It's one of these. It's great. All right, so it's what is
Is that
it?
smoke?
Is that pipe smoke?
From a pipe.
Yeah, smoke from a pipe.
Do you see that? Do you smell that? It's pipe smoke.
Yeah. So this is another one of the public domain horror movies. Criticism: the prosthetics they used weren't great.
He like had one foam prosthetic for his face. I hit the mic. I'm so sorry. I hope you guys didn't hear that.
You'll be great. It's dampener.
I hit the.
It's got a dampener on it. You're fine. Should be fine. Let her know in the comments.
It looks he's mostly in the shadows, thankfully, but you do see his face. I might have had a tiny spoiler in my Letterboxd review about the spinach, but I won't say anything here.
Yeah, so essentially one thing that we like a lot is even if the film is kind of corny and kind of like, public domain horror is not exactly, they're not making huge social commentary for the most part. But when they kind of, we talked about it a lot with Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, like making it make sense in our world a little bit more. And they did that with this one. Like there's a rational explanation for why this guy is this way. And I just thought it was a really fun movie. The character development was great. It wasn't a horror comedy, but it kind of was a horror comedy. Like it's funny, but like intentionally funny. The kills were really brutal. The concept, like nothing, I didn't roll my eyes or groan. It was just like, it was a fun ride. Like obviously it's not going to win any awards, but I liked it better than Screamboat. I thought it was a better public domain horror movie than Screamboat. And Screamboat had a bigger budget and more big names. But this one I liked a lot more. And yeah, so to me, W movie, if you're into the cheesy public domain horror, this is a good one. It's a good one. It's a lot of fun.
There is another Popeye movie that has also come out. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like $14 on streaming, so we picked this one first.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep burping. Sorry.
No, it's okay. At least you didn't blow up your soda all over the streaming room, you know?
But we'll watch that too, and then
we
we'll
will. Yeah, you'll
tell
hear
you
all
which
about
one's
it.
better.
Yeah,
but this one's pretty good, and it's $5, so it's not bad.
It's worth a watch too. Again, if you're looking for a fun, this is a good like put it on a weeknight or weekend night. You just want to chill, funny movie, low investment, good stuff. And it's a lot of fun. And I thought the ending was great, and they left it open for a sequel.
Yeah.
Too. And a sequel, I will be excited about a sequel
watch a
for
sequel.
this one. Yeah, especially again, we've seen the original movie kind of set the tone, and then the sequel be better. Which I guess I just always reference Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Blood and Honey 2. But if that is the case here, we're in for a banger on the sequel because the first one was already great. I already liked it. I liked Popeye the Slayer Man more than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I think that
one or two.
the first one. I think the second one's still better. Blood and Honey 2 is a genuinely good movie and shows that they're kind of getting it. So remember, these public domain horror movies are just starting to, it's like a new thing. Like they're just starting to take off with it. And so they're learning.
Yeah, will they start
lessons and
doing it
stuff.
in 2023?
Yeah, something like that. And so I think that this is going to be like an emerging genre. And then more and more people, because again, public domain means everybody's got access to it. We'll probably see more and more of these coming out because it's easy. Again, they joked about this in Screamboat. Basically, you can recycle the IP. It's like, oh, you don't have to come up with a new idea. You can just reuse old ideas. But could be a lot of fun to be had. I thought this was great. I recommend.
Yeah.
Especially at the price point. It's $5.
Acting was kind of bad.
I mean, yeah, it's a slasher. If you're looking for Demi Moore and the substance, this is not the film to watch. Maybe stick to A24 stuff. But if you're looking for a good ass time, a couple of drinks, and put your feet up, this is the one. This is the movie. All right, next up we got Rounding.
Yeah, Rounding. I was really excited about this one
Same.
because it's like in the medical field. And I still don't understand the poster. We can talk about that a little bit more later too. An hour and 31 minutes. It was in a lot of festivals in 2022 and 2023, and it was finally released to streaming on Valentine's Day this year, 2025. It claims to be limited, and then it was also released on Prime for $4.99. I don't see a tagline anywhere. A driven young medical resident transfers to a rural hospital for a fresh start. There, the demons of his past start to catch up with him, and when he becomes consumed by a case of a young asthma patient. Yeah.
It was good. I liked it. I think I could have liked it more. I thought that the main guy, the actor who plays the main character, I thought he had a great individual performance. I thought he was great. I was almost immediately invested in his story. He had again really solid acting performance. I don't think he had a lot to work with, so I do think he elevated the film a lot. But that being said, there were some things that just kind of drove me crazy. The foot, yeah, he injures himself and then just ignores it the entire film. And I get that, like, maybe that, and I'm sorry for spoilers, but if they're trying to, I think, communicate that he was just so consumed by this other thing that he let everything go because he's like a runner, and then like now he can't run. I just didn't like that. I was like, come on, man, like you're a doctor.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of one of those, like, it's almost like torture porn where like you're just watching this guy collapse and you're like, come on, man, just do the right thing. And like, it was hard to watch in that way. And then there was just, I guess the supernatural elements almost felt forced and unnecessary. Like, I think it could have been more of a drama than a horror movie. And they kind of I think they kind of forced it being, it's almost like it felt out of place as a horror movie. Like I think it could have been better as a
Yeah, it was a
as a
psychological
suspense
thriller.
and psychological thriller. And I'm not typically one to gatekeep movies from horror, but like the horror elements that they added to me felt forced and unnecessary, and like they took away, not added to the film.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on it.
I was excited when we were really looking at stuff before we watched it, like looking at the movie poster. I was like, oh, his neck is a candle. It's an upside down candle. I don't understand that at all, though. I don't remember anything, any imagery.
I do. This will be a spoiler. So if you don't want spoilers, skip to the next movie. The demon thing that he kept seeing had candles on his head. So is the demon candle, but like
that's right.
And I think
forgot.
maybe the poster is supposed to signify that that was in his head. He's the candle. He's the demon. Maybe I don't know, but again,
it's a mild spoiler.
That's kind of why one of the things I didn't like about it is that like
the random horror stuff.
It just
I kind
didn't.
of forgot about
It
that,
really
to be
exactly. See, you wouldn't even remember because it really again took away, and I just feel like they tried really hard to be deeper than they needed to be, and maybe they could have just pulled it back a little bit. But overall, not a bad watch. I wouldn't tell you not to watch it.
You need to go in knowing that it's like more of like a thriller than a horror movie.
Yeah, and it probably will ultimately disappoint you, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe again, if you watched it and you loved it, I want to hear why. I want to love it. And again, the main character.
I liked it.
I liked it for sure.
It.
I liked it, and I was glad, and especially considering some of the things we had watched leading up to it, it was nice, but it just didn't really land for me.
Yeah.
So, good, not great. Definitely don't need to see it, but definitely don't need to skip it either. So, all right, and then we've got
Drained. Yeah, an hour, 47 minutes, and it was in some film festivals in 2024, released to streaming January 28th, 2025, $4.99 on Prime. Tagline is, "She'll bleed you dry." An employed artist, Thomas, is captivated by alluring Rhea, who conceals her vampire nature. Their intense affair takes a sinister turn as Thomas becomes gravely ill.
Okay, I really like this one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I really liked it. I think the only downvote, the only criticism I have is that the character Rhea, the actress, I didn't like her performance at all. I did not buy her as this alluring and enchanting and addictive person.
Right.
I thought she was
I don't know if it was her fault or the writer's fault.
Yeah.
But I felt like that she was supposed to be portrayed to us as this intense and person that you couldn't live without, that was so that you were drawn to, and she was also scary, and they gave us nothing to actually feel that. We were just told that's what you're supposed to feel with this person, and I didn't get it.
You had to take their word for it, not be shown that. And then I think that another thing that probably hurt her is how fantastic Thomas's performance was. The guy who played Thomas,
yeah, the dude did great.
He was incredible. You were almost immediately invested in him. He was very funny without trying, very likable, very charismatic. You're rooting for him immediately. He's just great. And I thought that kept up. And I loved the ending. I thought the ending was great. I loved him individually. The concept, I've talked to her about this a little bit, but it's not easy to make a vampire movie feel original because it's been done so many times. But this one felt really original. It really felt like, and then they did some pretty good tongue-in-cheek poking fun at Hollywood vampires. And
you've seen too many movies.
You've seen too many movies. But overall, and then I thought that the stepdad and mom were great too. Like I thought that all the performances were great. Outside of Rhea, I just thought she was like kind of I feel like if you had gotten a great performance out of her, this could have been like the best movie I've seen this year. If you had just gotten a fantastic performance, they had hired somebody that was able to sell it more, I think. But overall, I would recommend. Not even I would recommend it. I think it's really worth watching.
Yeah, it's a good
especially
movie.
If you're really into vampires. And we had sorry guys, my knee is clunky. We've had great vampire movies recently. Nosferatu is probably the best vampire movie I've ever seen. And then what was Abigail was great. And then there's one more recent. Twilight's one of the best movies of all time. Yeah,
a recent one.
Give me a second to remember a recent vampire film. It'll come to me later. Middle of the night, I'll wake up screaming. But Yeah, vampire. A lot of good vampire movies, but this one felt really good. I thought this was.
Yeah.
I like this more than Abigail. I would say that in terms of vampire
Yes.
films. So I thought it was just a great. And again, it's got like narratives about addiction and narratives about codependency, and like there's a lot of meat in there that I thought was done very well, but also very entertaining. And again, the Thomas guy, the actor that plays Thomas, I think he just stole the show. He was so good and so talented.
I was gonna see if we could actually get his name.
Yeah, I would love to shout him out. Maybe he'll follow me on Twitter.
Drained. Oh God.
Let me get it. His name is Rurid Aldington. Ruaridh. Rurid Aldington. Anyways, he was great.
he
was
great.
Yeah, he's good work. And if you're watching the podcast, I'd love to get to know you more, but not in a weird way, like just friends. So this got weird. Let's go to the next movie. All right, Mouths of Horrors. Ugh. Come for the thrills, stay for the kills.
The second Steamboat Willie movie this year. This one came out first. And then Screamboat came out later.
Yeah.
So this movie is TVMA. I guess it was a TV movie. An hour and 24 minutes, and it was released to Tubi January 25th. And yes, the tagline, "Come for the thrills, stay for the kills." A group of young adults are walking the grounds of a fair after hours when they suddenly realize that they are being stalked by a killer mouse, and it's in quotes.
Yeah. Well, spoiler warning. It's more than a mouse. There's like other public access characters. I'm just gonna tell you guys, they straight up like used the same like character model for the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey original movie. The first one. It's like they bought the props off of those guys and then made a movie with them. It stinks. It's not great.
I think the main girl in this movie was in one of the other movies as well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. It might be better than Screamboat. He's normal sized. He's not tiny.
I need to rewatch. I was actually.
We were like half asleep watching it.
We were watching it first thing in the morning, and I was playing on my Steam Deck while we were watching it. And so there was one really, really like iconic scene that we would love to talk about in a spoiler free or in a spoiler appropriate zone. Because there's one scene that is just like so off the wall, so ridiculous. It reminds me of like the movie theater massacre scene with the flying in space, like just completely out of place and doesn't make any sense. But
the ending.
Yeah. But this one works. This one works.
It was so. It looked like a kid cut out pictures and just moved them around on screen.
Yeah.
But it was just so good.
It works. Yeah, it works. It's like ironically funny.
So good.
So yeah, overall, I'm gonna rewatch.
The premise of this movie, though, is as always, it's kind of the same. So there's a creator who made Willie and made Pooh. And he's like, I'm going to make you guys some wives, so I need you to get the perfect pieces. And so that's why he's killing people. Is to get the perfect pieces for his future bride.
Yeah. And again, I almost feel like I owe you guys more because I didn't pay that much attention to it. It was just kind of on in the background and didn't really force me to pay attention to it.
Oh, the actor that did Willie, you can tell he's very, very heavily inspired by the Terrifier movies and David Howard Thornton. I mean, he's very like...
It's a love letter to him,
like Bowie and
when a guy sets the standard so high, obviously people are going to mimic that.
Yeah,
right?
it wasn't bad, but every time I saw it, I was like, oh, there's Art the Clown again.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're into cheesy public domain movies, this might be one worth watching too. I thought Popeye the Slayer Man was a higher quality film and more
Popeye
watchable.
is better. Popeye the Slayer Man is better. Mouse of Horrors is also free though.
Yeah, free on Tubi. Tubi.
You don't even need to sign up to use Tubi.
Yeah. Again, if you guys are not already abusing Tubi's library, you really ought to because it's phenomenal and it costs nothing.
I'm gonna click away.
Yeah, I understand. I remember. You don't need to remind me. I do this for a living. All right, so give us a moment. We had so many films this week that we had to use two scenes. So coming up now, another Tubi original. We were really leaning into our Tubi vibes this week. Tarot
Curse. Yes, so released February 21st to Tubi. No tagline. After a tarot reading in New Orleans, a group of students are horrified to realize the cards are predicting their gruesome deaths one by one. very Final Destination
Yep,
coded.
yep. This is exactly what I was going to say. This is definitely inspired by Final Destination, which is not a bad thing because Final Destination is a very fun series. And I personally thought this was great. It was a great movie. I enjoyed everything about it. I thought that the characters were well developed. I thought the performances individually and collectively were great. I thought the concept was neat. You know, they mess around and accidentally get cursed by a tarot reading. Yeah, I really for a Tubi original, it's a W.
Yeah.
Uppercase W for me.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say if you are very much into tarot, don't watch it though.
Yeah, that's one thing.
It's very clearly a movie that someone made that was just like Googling what is tarot.
Yeah,
because
she was criticizing the tarot inconsistencies the whole time.
They only use the major arcana for cards, so no cups, wands, pentacles, things like that. And then also they made the death card the really big bad card, which if anybody cares about tarot, you would know it would be the tower, not death. So
yeah.
But casual tarot person, it would be it's good. I liked it a lot. It was there's some parts that are very silly.
Yep.
The guy all the way to the right, like I think he kind of stole it. He was really good.
Yeah, he was probably. I think he had the best individual performance. I would agree. But there was no weak performances.
Was good, though.
I think.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any weak performances, and I thought that the kills were very, again, Final Destination coded. They were like very extra and very funny, and they did a really good job. One thing that I'm like kind of picky about is having them build up rather than like be inconsistent, and they did. They kind of started small and then like built up to being like crazy. So
yeah,
I thought it was a great film overall. I really loved it. I loved the way that
the best movie we've seen on Tubi.
Easily the best Tubi original I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was very good. We went into this expecting the worst because here's another Tubi movie, but it was really good. It was it was silly. It was scary.
Yep.
It was a good one.
Fun movie.
Yeah.
To recommend. It's a uppercase W from Slashily Ever After.
It is an uppercase W. But
and
what's
now,
not?
The worst movie on the list.
So much so that when I was putting together the book, I forgot about it.
Yeah, we forgot that we watched this.
Yeah.
And then this is the best we could do for a poster. It's an IMDb picture and it's small. And I didn't care enough about the movie to fix it for the like. This is what you guys get. You get the other stuff
in the background
because I'm not putting an ounce more effort. I've already invested too much in Piglet to also fix the poster.
Yeah, so TVMA, an hour and 30 minutes, released on January 25th, 2025. You have two options for streaming. The first one is that it's free on Tubi, or you could pay $13 on Prime.
Please, if you're going to, first of all, don't watch it. But if you're going to watch it, because some of you are like me,
you got to watch them all.
I have to watch all the public domain horror movies. Like, I have to.
We're gonna.
I don't want to spoil it, although you shouldn't watch it. But this hardly counts as a public domain horror when they actually explain what's going on.
Yeah,
and
they just stole the concept from a different movie. They use the mask.
And it's bad. This movie feels like someone who loves and is heavily inspired by the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre got $87 together to make a movie, and this is what they did. And they think it's good, and it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, this pork will chop you up.
Ugh.
On Kate's 21st birthday camping trip, her friends encounter Piglet, a monstrous human-pig hybrid. I don't think he's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Who brutally murders one of them. They uncover Piglet's origins, and Kate must confront her past to survive the relentless killer.
Yep. Sucks. Movie sucks. Story sucks. Performances suck. Everybody was trying to pretend they were Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they were just bad cosplayers.
Yeah. My least favorite of the public domain horror movies.
Easily the worst one, in my opinion. I have no desire to rewatch. I kept falling asleep, and then I was like, it's one of those ones where like I wish you wouldn't have woke me up. Like I would have been better off.
Well, I did. I stopped waking you up because you're like, I don't even remember how it ended, and I couldn't tell you how it ended either. I don't remember.
I remember. I
think they might have killed Piglet.
Pretty sure.
Piglet.
Pretty sure.
Don't watch it.
No, I may actually try and rewatch it. Maybe on the side while I'm doing something else, just so I can get it better.
Yeah.
I do need to pay a little bit more attention to these public domain horror movies, but this one was just bad. At least it's free on Tubi. I never would have rewatched it if it wasn't free on Tubi. But
we would not Do not pay $13 to rent it
No,
on Prime.
please don't. Please don't pay for it. If you need to see it, watch it on Tubi. And then if I miss something or if maybe I'm being harshly critical, comments are open, DMs are open. Let me know. But
They were. It's funny putting this together. I thought it would be like a lot of like, don't waste your time. You can watch this if you want. But there's a pretty decent amount of movies in here. Like,
kind of a good split.
you really liked A Knight's War, and anybody that's into high fantasy and horror fantasy definitely would recommend that for sure.
And then similarly, if you're really into dark themes and kind of like emotionally taxing films, I thought Mom was really worth a watch.
Yep.
But again, I think that the W's were more situational, like your taste. So for me, like, because I'm so into dark fantasy, I'm so into like really dark. I really love The Coffee Table is another dark horror movie. Like, I like movies like that. So Mom was always going to hit for me.
Yeah.
Maybe a miss for some.
Like Bloody Axeman was great.
So funny.
Popeye the Slayer Man might be a little less of a hit for more people, but if you're into the public domain horror movie, it's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Rounding, if you go in thinking it's more a thriller rather than horror, Drained was really good.
Yeah.
Mouse of Horrors was fine. Tarot Curse.
Yeah.
I think Tarot Curse is probably the underdog of this episode.
I do think that the bad being so bad may have given us more of like a negative slant. But then when you actually break down the list, there was more good than bad on the list.
Yeah, definitely more good than bad, thankfully.
Cool. Yeah. So, hey, look at us. We came around full circle, and now we're back to gassing up horror movies. I like it. So there you go. That's the wrap up for streaming. So next week, I'm not sure what the plan is. We're going to keep chunking away. We do have grand aspirations to watch every horror movie that's released this year and talk about it on the podcast. So if we've missed anything in the last few months, please let us know in the comments.
But also know that it's still coming.
Yeah.
We know, as far as I know, Round the Decay is the only movie in January we've missed.
Yeah.
Although somehow movies keep coming out in January that I missed. Like Piglet was one that came out in January that I don't remember. We are a third to a half of the way through the movies through February. Mm-hmm. We are a quarter of the way through March.
We like sprinkled some in, yeah. But we're gonna end this.
And April's just starting.
Yeah, we'll watch another movie tonight. Like, we're gonna keep chunking away for you guys. Keep on talking about horror. Keep on pointing out the hidden gems and the avoid at all costs. And we'll watch these movies so you don't have to.
Exactly.
All right. So thank you guys for checking in yet again. It's been a really fun episode, and make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, retweet, repost, Instagram, Threads, whatever you do. Do it for us, with us, among us. Yeah, good finish. I like that.
And they live Slashily ever after.
Bye.